Welcome all to another episode of Yeah No No Yeah. We gather here today to talk about Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass, which of course we go into many spoilers for the show, so if you want to avoid those spoilers, then check out the timestamps in the description of the episode, where you can also find the link trees to all of our social medias and the link to support the show through Patreon if you want to help out. We appreciate it a lot and we hope you guys enjoy the episode, so let's get into it. I even had, in honor of this topic, I had a little glass of wine with me, a little glass of what is wine, or, well, I can't say what it could be because I'd be spoiling it.
All I'm drinking is coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I never drink wine, like, ever.
I've been starting lately just because of all the health. Apparently there's a bunch of health benefits to it, so I've been kind of trying to get more accustomed to wine, and I'm acquiring the taste slowly.
I love it. I love a good red wine. Red wine is delicious. White wine tastes like fucking piss, though. Fuck white wine.
Yeah, red wine's better. It just is.
It's so yummy. So how we doing, boys? Welcome to another podcast episode.
Same old, man. Just same old stuff. Just working. The only thing that's new is I've actually been breaking out the guitar. I'm finally playing the guitar again. That's
Hell
something
yeah.
I'm trying to get back into, yeah. For the longest time, I wasn't playing it because I was so worried about my neighbors, you know? And you can't play an electric guitar without an amp. That's just, there's no point to it. So I finally plugged in my headphones to the amp and realized I could just play that way and I can hear what I don't know why I never did that. I don't know why it took me that long to just plug in the headphones. So it's about the best it's going to get right now. There's nothing worse than forgetting a song that you used to know how to play and having to relearn it. That's just depressing. So I'm really trying to relearn a lot of the stuff because I haven't played them forever.
For me, once you get like the first note, like it all comes back. For me, at least. Little bit of, you know.
I mean,
oh, what was that note? But you know.
Yeah, I remember a lot of it, but just gonna take me some time. But yeah, that's all I've really been up to, trying to get back into that.
Blessings upon you.
Blessings
Yes.
upon you, Father.
Thanks. Yeah.
Brother, whatever.
Amen.
I don't fucking know.
There's not too much new with me. Interview date's like a week away, almost, pretty much. So
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Nervous and stressed, and yeah, should be all good. I've just got a lot of documents I need to print off, which is very much a hassle. Sitting around working, catching up on reviews and stuff. I finally caught up on like every review I've like needed to do, so I'm like free and clear now. I can watch movies, but I just haven't yet.
Work, pretty much. Just work. Been gaming a bit. That's about it. Nothing else to really say or ponder.
Well, ponder this. There's a new sound in the soundboard.
No fucking way.
shit.
No fucking way.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. Is this an exclusive?
It's like Christmas every time.
I think Tenet was like phenomenally directed.
No, get it off. Get it off.
I have to.
Get it out of
You
there.
give me that. I need it. Like,
Oh, I remember that because he didn't even mean to say Tenet. That's
Yeah, you meant
great.
to say Oppenheimer. No, it's like whenever we disagree with like something Keelan says, we can just
That's
bring
true.
that up. Yeah.
That's true. That's we
what's
forever
the
have
point?
leverage on him.
No, you
To
don't.
be annoying.
I feel sad now. I'm leaving.
Who's gonna defend Tenet though? Well, I would, but I mean,
This is my official statement. Tenet is a bad movie, but Christopher Nolan brought it back with Oppenheimer.
That's not getting soundboard clipped.
no. Yes,
Shouting out the patrons.
Patrons.
Yeah, thanks to all of our patrons. Starting off with Kath at Kath Fernway. Thanks, Kath.
Thank you,
being a
Kath.
patron.
Thank you, Kath.
Thanks, Julia. Moving ___ pictures. That's too many underscores.
Thanks, Julia.
Thanks, Julia. And thank you, Sarah's _popcorn_ chat.
Misleading. What if this is somebody's first episode they're listening to? They wouldn't find the account.
Well, they should have listened from the first episode, or else, you know,
Yeah, that's
they'd
the
miss
point.
all the banter.
And thanks, Ardor Film.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Ardora Film. Thank you, Luna Pearl, Liam's mother. Thank you, Graham, Quinn's brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks, brother.
Why do we always sound so sad when talking about patrons?
I don't know. It's because the start of the episode is always
start,
like,
yeah.
it's the rise of and then we haven't hit our peak energy yet. It was a long day at work for me too. That's also why I'm drinking the wine. Not just because it's Midnight Mass related, but it was it was actually a stressful day at work, I'm not gonna lie. But it's over now. Before I forget, poll results. I'll go to the 2023 wrap-up episode. I asked people, I gave a bunch of different options, and I said, because that was our yearly wrap-up episode, I said, what did you focus on the most in 2023? And I gave either movies, music, books, gaming, life, other, just all the different, me, Liam, you focused on Liam the whole year. And yeah, so 50% of the people said music, and the other 50% said movies.
I was hoping for a curveball there, but alright.
I know.
I wanted books and other.
What would other have been?
Gooning.
People focus on life.
Vote more, people.
Yeah, vote more. What we've been watching and stuff.
I'll get us started with my, second most recent watch, I guess, now, but I watched The Iron Claw. The wrestling movie. It was, oh my god, I cried. Cried a lot.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it good?
It was phenomenal. I fucking loved it. It's not perfect for me yet. Like, I think there are a few issues I have with it, mainly in terms of presentation. I feel like maybe it could have been a bit more interesting. Like, I felt like it was shot a bit too standard, where it just felt like it was kind of shot reverse shot, and the blocking felt kind of felt generic. But I feel like for the story, it was fine, because the story is the main hook of the film, and the story is just so unbelievably just a real fucking tragedy. And the way they told it, it had so much respect in it, and you could feel the love for, like, especially the brothers in it. Like, the empathy, like, the filmmakers had for them, it's shown through the screen. Like, Zac Efron, my fucking god, I will never doubt that man again. He was fucking, he carried that movie. Like, my god,
best performance of his life.
I can't think of anything that would come close, but, like, I never expected to see, like, that level of performance from him, because he was genuinely just, like, he was heartbreaking and so believable in it, especially as the film went on. Just, like, everything weighing on him, you could really feel it, like, through his performance, and I fucking loved that. The rest of the performances as well were great. I loved Harris Dickinson, I loved Jeremy Allen White. The father in it, though, I fucking loved that guy.
You don't love the character, but the character's kind of an asshole, but the guy was good at playing an asshole, yeah. The
entire cast was fantastic, and yeah, for the first half of the movie, it's like, hell yeah, dudes rock. The last half is just like, oh fuck, yeah, this shit, it's heavy, it's fucking heavy stuff. Yeah, 9 out of 10 for me personally. I really, really loved it. It's definitely up there as one of the best of last year.
Same score for me, 9 out of 10. I don't know, yeah, same here though. Like, after watching that, I don't know if you can go back so soon, because it does take a lot out of you by the end of it. Yeah. I watched some Best Picture nominees in preparation, I guess, for the Oscars. I watched Anatomy of a Fall, and it was good. I don't think it should win Best Picture. After watching it, I didn't think it was like the strongest out of all of them, but Sandra Hüller, I think is her name. She was great. If she won Best Actress, I wouldn't even like dispute it. Like, she probably earns it. The downside to it though, it was a bit too long. Like, scenes really drag out, and it's a full-on courtroom drama. So like, you have to be in the mood for a very talky, meticulous fucking courtroom drama. It was good though. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Like, I don't feel like going back and watching it again. It was a good one-time watch, so it was solid. So I guess give it a shot if you want.
I listened to Antichrist Superstar by Marilyn Manson, I guess. Like Marilyn Manson, I never really saw myself getting into him that much, because I find him to be a bit of a piece of shit, as most people probably should.
Yeah.
Separating the art from the artist, the music is good. The first 2 albums, they didn't really give me that much that I wanted, aside from maybe a few tracks, but this one was the one where it like really started to actually get like great, and it makes sense why it's like probably his most popular album from what I've heard. I really liked Irresponsible Hate Anthem and Kinderfeld and Tourniquet. Those are like such good songs. It is a bit overlong though. I think an hour and like 15 minutes or something like that.
Most 90s industrial albums are that long, and they're like, man, you don't need to be this long.
I would probably give it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 right now.
I'll go with a game. I beat a game recently. I beat Yakuza Like a Dragon, which took me 75 fucking hours to finish.
Jeez.
But it was Oh, it was phenomenal. It's probably one of the fucking best games I've ever played in my life. It was life-changing for me, honestly, because I think I talked about it a bit on the 2023 wrap-up episode, because I started playing it around then. But yeah, I finally finished it, and it just gave me everything that I could ever want out of a game. Like, even, I don't like turn-based combat. It changed my opinion on turn-based combats. I hate JRPGs. It fucking changed my opinion on JRPGs. It's so compelling, but the nature of the world that it's in is so goofy, but they somehow keep it fucking well balanced that you don't have a problem with, like, you know, giving in to the serious nature of the story, and I love that about it. I love how it can just toy with those fucking tones just masterfully. Like I said, 75 hours it took me to beat, and I loved every hour of it. It never felt over long. And yeah, it's probably one of my favorite games of all time at this point. I can't recommend it enough, even for people like me who didn't like fucking turn-based combat or JRPGs. It's fucking great if you have the time to sink into a game like that, you know? Yakuza Like a Dragon, 10 out of 10. One of my favorite games of all time at this point, I think.
Well, moving on to, like I said, I was watching Best Picture nominees, and I watched American Fiction, which I loved way more than I thought I would. I was not expecting this movie, honestly, to be that good. The trailer looked a bit kind of cringe to me. I just was not expecting to like it. I thought it was funny. I thought it executed its satire and its social commentary well. I didn't think it did too much or did too little. I liked the characters. Yeah, it was just a really surprising watch, and it kept me engaged pretty much the whole time, so...
Didn't really like it. I'm not going to argue.
I'm not going to die in the middle of American Fiction, but, like, you know, it's... I've definitely viewed it differently, I guess.
Fight.
In terms of its...
Shut up, you little fucking shit. Okay, Quinn, this is why you're wrong, okay? It sucks and you're stupid. Get the fuck out of here.
You know what I'm gonna do? Pull this out.
I think Tenet was like phenomenal direction.
That's that's the get out of jail free card.
Trump card.
Yep, it is. Slap that down. It's old reliable.
I'm off the cast. Just wasn't a fan of how... I thought it was a good movie overall, but the two central plot lines, they never quite met for me, you know? It's probably my least favorite Best Picture nominee of the ones I've seen. 5 out of 10 for me personally.
Damn.
I listened to an album called Diamonds and Freaks by Black ODYSSY. To my surprise, it was actually quite good. I really hated this guy's debut album, but this was his second one, and it was like a very obvious improvement in my opinion. It's like 49 minutes long, quite a lot of variety to it, I think, in terms of the music and stuff, because I mean the rapping feels like relatively generic, but the music around it is really kind of unique a lot of the time, and it honestly felt similar in production to Flying Lotus. Like, I'm not just tying it back to the last episode, but like in some of the production it sounds quite similar in my opinion. Miss Sweet Tea is a fucking great song. Honeysuckle Neckbone is an awesome song. Yeah, there are a lot of good ones. Yeah, what a name.
Yeah, Adam.
I would recommend just listening to this one if you don't have that much interest in listening to his first one, but if you want to, go right ahead. This one was actually really impressive. I quite liked it. It's not perfect for me right now or anything, but I'd probably give it a 7. Check it out. It's good.
I'm gonna go with a bit of a weird one. I think it was probably the most obscure film I've watched in the past month or so. It's a film called Simone, directed by Andrew Niccol, who's directed stuff like he directed Gattaca, Lord of War, but he also directed In Time and The Host. Not the Bong Joon-ho host film, the one with Saoirse Ronan. And it stars Al Pacino, and it's about a producer who's looking for a hit film, but all his actresses keep dropping out. The film opens with Winona Ryder, who I think she plays herself in it. She quits a movie or whatever, and he's like, oh fuck, I don't have a lead actress now. And I forgot how exactly, but then he comes across an artificial intelligence actress who he can insert into all these movies, and she becomes an international sensation.
Interesting.
It's not a good movie, but it was so fascinating to me because it came out in 2002, and it's way ahead of its time in terms of how it's relevant today, it was right about a lot of things. It's just like, oh yeah, shit, this is actually happening now, and it's like treated as a joke in the movie, and it's like, oh shit, fuck, where did it all go wrong? Like I said, it's not the best movie ever. It is quite flawed, but it's so entertaining that I think it's very much worth a watch, especially because it has some kind of unintentionally funny elements. It has some genuinely funny elements because it is also a comedy at the end of the day. It's a really fucking interesting movie, and I find myself thinking about it a lot since I've seen it. And Al Pacino's great. He's genuinely great in it. I love watching Pacino in anything. And then there's also fucking Catherine Keener in it, who I like very much as well, and a couple of other people. Like, a lot of recognizable faces that are just like, oh, I didn't know he was in it. And he was. So, yeah. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, but in my heart it's kind of like a 9 out of 10, maybe, because I've thought about it a lot.
I looked it up on Letterboxd, and only 2 people that I'm following have seen it, you and Mike Flanagan.
Yeah!
We're going to be talking about today. Mike Flanagan has seen it. He has a Letterboxd account. So, that's ironic.
What are the odds?
Oh, that's funny. It's not the last Best Picture nominee I had left. I still have one more left, I think, to watch. I watched Past Lives because we got it at our theater for a week. Yeah, I'm glad I got to see it on the big screen. Not that it's a movie you have to see on the big screen, you definitely don't have to, but I loved it. It was amazing, but it was kind of exactly what I expected it to be in the end. Like, you watch the trailer and it's like, okay, I know what type of movie I'm getting into. But it was great throughout the whole thing. Like, the performances were great, technically, like, everything about it was made so well, and you really do fall in love with the characters. Like, there was no character I hated. I kind of loved almost everybody in, like, a different way. And, yeah, it was just a nice, refreshing little simple but cute little drama kind of romance movie, but kind of not. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So it's worth the hype. I think it lived up to the hype for me.
I don't think I'd call it cute. That last half an hour kind of fucked me up.
That's true. I mean, it's cute. Like, the first half, I would say, is kind of cute. And then it's like, yeah, this is pretty sad.
I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you, though. I really like how mature it is in terms of how it discusses, like, the central romance of the movie. I think it's really well handled. And yeah, like you said, it's great all around, fuck me. Yeah, directed very well. The fucking cinematography was great. Greta Lee was fucking fantastic.
Oh my gosh,
I
loved her, yeah. And yeah, the guy, I don't know what else I've seen him in, the main actor, but he was great too.
He was fantastic too. I also give it a 9 out of 10.
And it's just a great directorial debut too. Like, this is this woman's, like, first movie, so it's a great first movie too.
I'll finish it off with this one. Yesterday on Valentine's Day, me and Julia decided to rewatch The Day After Tomorrow. She hadn't seen it though. It's still just a fun movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 this time around. Kind of just one of those movies that I've seen like a ton of times and I remember everything about, so I don't have too much like new or interesting to say about it, but I don't have too much else to talk about, so yeah. But it's still fun. Some of the effects hold up, not all of them. It's still fun. I'm glad that the weather allows for comedic timing as well. It's very nice.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that. It's been forever since I've seen that.
I read this trivia thing on it. Yeah, DVD sales brought in an extra 110 million in revenue, apparently.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Holy crap. Wow.
It's fucking nuts.
It just seems like one of those types of movies, though, because, I mean, I remember, as a kid going through Blockbuster and seeing that movie. Oh, yeah, it's just that peak, 2004, before streaming, that kind of video store type movie. It's Roland Emmerich. Yeah. I'm not surprised, I
mean, yeah, there's that clip of, fucking Matt Damon that kind of went a little viral, I suppose, where he's talking about how, if movies didn't make their money back at the box office, they had DVD sales to fall back on, which I find interesting. And the fact that they don't have that avenue anymore, they're kind of limited to just big budget films that are guaranteed to make their money back at the box office, it's sad. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Maybe Simone wouldn't have gotten made if they didn't have DVD sales to fall back on. That's a sad thought.
That'd be a tragedy. I'm sure Mike Flanagan would be upset with you, too. You're the only two that have seen it, according to my letterbox.
Your good friend, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, my friend. I mean, my following account, Mike Flanagan, not my friend. I wish he was my friend.
That sounded so sad.
That was the saddest thing ever.
Mini topics?
Yeah, mini topics.
One is probably Deadpool 3.
Yep. Yeah, we can start with that if you want. I watched the trailer like
Deadpool
once, so I'm trying to remember everything from it, but like...
Did you watch it, Keelan?
I watched it a couple of times.
As good as... I mean, it wasn't bad.
I'm just
Got me
insanely
excited.
skeptical because I think it's just
Free guy
in the back of my...
director.
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly. You
shit.
took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The fact that Sean Levy's directing it,
I have to keep reminding myself. I'm like,
the trailer looks like all right. It looks better than Free Guy. I'll say that much.
yeah.
But I just didn't get a lot out of it. It feels like it would have went. I mean, it probably is like the biggest deal in the world for some people. But it feels like it would have fucking broken people if it came out like a couple of years ago, like during height of like superhero hype. But right now I'm just like, I don't really think I care, honestly. I'm worried about what it might mean for Logan more so than anything, I think, because I feel like it's just gonna, he's stepping back into the role one more time and it's gonna be shit.
It is good though that it seems like Madam Web and this are going to be the only like Marvel things this year, aside from maybe some shows.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, it's a good thing. I mean, they can slow down a little bit.
We're not hyped for Madam Web, no?
No, why would I be?
Dude, I am now
come on,
after
guys.
seeing those fucking Rotten Tomato scores. I was not caring about this movie at all, and now I want the next Morbius. It's gonna be the next Morbius, dude.
I genuinely think Morbius will be like a better movie.
I saw a review that said this makes Morbius look like The Godfather, so it must really be fucking bad.
Yeah.
Back to the mini topic, Deadpool 3.
I thought the trailer was good, but to be honest, all the behind-the-scenes photos of the set, like, and the cameos and all that, it kind of took my excitement away before the trailer even dropped. So the trailer didn't really get me excited, but I do think this will be like the best thing that, and for me personally, probably the best thing Marvel will have done in a while, even though it's not really Marvel, isn't it? Wait, no, it is Marvel now. It's not.
It is fully.
Dude, I'm so good.
There's literally that shot in the trailer of Deadpool looking at footage from Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah. You're right. Dude,
Is that a thing? Oh my god, Deadpool.
Yeah, there's like 3 screens, and like one of them is like the first Avengers, the second one is like Age of Ultron, the third screen.
What are you doing? What?
He says he's going to become Marvel Jesus.
Oh
that
boy.
they're basically admitting that like he's coming to fucking save their franchise. Like that's what they're admitting. They know they're failing and that this could save it.
Like with how long it would have taken to write it, I don't think it was intentional, but I do think it's very smart that they edited the trailer like that it was like, oh yeah, we know the MCU is in a shambles, like here's Deadpool to save it. I think it was smart that they did that, but I don't think it was their fucking intention whatsoever. Like they're just kind of taking advantage of the moment, and I don't think Disney would admit that, the last few Marvel movies have been dog shit,
I'm hopeful though. I'm excited, but you're right. It's the fucking Free Guy director, so I can't get my hopes too high.
Man, I tell you, I've had to bullshit my way through a couple of fucking Deadpool 3 trailer conversations the past couple of days. I've had to be like, yeah, that it looks great, yay, and I'm just like, oh, but Free Guy director.
Which your average person wouldn't even care or know. Like like who cares? They don't think of that.
The average person probably loves Free Guy.
Exactly. They do.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is an anti-Free Guy podcast.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
fuck Free Guy.
First and foremost.
Fuck it. In other Marvel news, while we're talking about Marvel, the only other thing I thought was interesting to bring up is that Marvel just casually dropped like their Fantastic Four casting, and everybody's kind of up in arms about Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Some people love it, some people hate it.
I said it's better than John Krasinski, at least.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I like John Krasinski as him.
I don't like Pedro in that role, really.
No, I'm kind of the same boat as Liam. Like, I like Pedro Pascal, but I just don't know. Like,
I have my reservations with him as the character, but yeah, I at least it's better than John Krasinski, I guess. But
it just feels like when they go to pick out actors now, they just go with like the most popular choices rather than what will actually suit the character.
To be fair, they cast Sue Storm and fucking The Thing very well. Like that's some pretty fucking good casting. Like Vanessa Kirby's
I feel like
Storm.
the Thing you can just cast as anyone, really.
Yeah, you really could. Joseph Quinn, right?
Yeah,
he was in
would
Stranger
be
Things.
He would be good, I think.
Yeah, he wouldn't be bad. He's just like your. Yeah, he's fine. Say what you will about the fucking old Fantastic Four movies. That Reed Richards casting was perfect, I thought. Whoever that guy was, I can't think of his actor name. Dude, it was good casting, that guy.
It was good casting, but I'd say even better casting. I know you just said that the Thing can be anyone, but Michael Chiklis as the Thing, that is fucking great casting.
Oh, is he from the original Fantastic Four?
Yeah, Michael Chiklis was the original Thing.
You know who I actually think would be like really good as Reed Richards? Hamish Linklater.
Hell yeah!
Oh
dude,
yeah,
that would actually work. I think
it would work. It'd be perfect. Fuck. Oh, that's
that would be
I
sick.
wish we could see that. I would love that.
I'm more excited because of the poster that they released. I think if they stick with that style, which they fucking won't because it's Marvel, but if they stick with like that 60s aesthetic and like with the texture of like the costumes and stuff, if they stick with that and they don't fuck it up, I think we could have the first ever good Fantastic Four movie.
It's not gonna happen.
After like fucking 30 years.
It just can't be good.
Were we even wanting to touch on the Grammy winners or no?
I don't care.
Like, just because it's a music, and I didn't even watch the Grammys, but
everything I heard about them made me fucking eye roll and want to kill myself.
Exactly.
Like, fuck Jay-Z, honestly.
What happened with
What
Jay-Z?
did Jay-Z do?
He's being a fucking douche, going on about how Beyonce should win shit again and again. He was being really childish at the Thing, apparently, and like, you know, drinking out of his Grammy and shit. He's just being a twat.
To be fair, I don't think Beyonce was nominated for anything, so maybe he was just trying to support his wife. I hope I find a love like that, where they make 3 fucking albums about how he cheated on her.
One of the biggest moments was that Miley Cyrus won her first Grammy. I mean, I don't listen to Miley Cyrus, I'm just saying that was like a big moment, apparently. Let's see, I know Taylor Swift won like album of the year, not surprised.
Didn't Boy Genius win?
Best alternative album, I think.
I thought it was Best Rock. That's what I thought I saw. Yeah,
that was Paramore. Paramore won Best Rock. Let's go, guys. They won,
yeah.
They
Oh,
won
that
a
was the
Grammy.
other thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, they won, which is good. Sure, that's good. Metallica won Best Metal Performance, even though it's with their worst album, 72 Seasons. But good for them, I guess. You weren't wanting to talk about Death Stranding 2, or no? Do you want to move on?
Oh, yeah, I kind of was. Kojima dropped like an 8-minute fucking trailer for Death Stranding 2. Looks fucking awesome. Like, the whole art direction of this one in particular just looks like really different to the first one in a weird way. Kind of more like combat heavy, I'm guessing.
I don't think it will be.
It seems like it might be because like they have some action in the trailer and stuff like that, and it feels like maybe the first game is more of like the steady walking simulator kind of thing that it was, and then I guess it leads up to more conflict, which leads up to more action. So I would guess that this one's going to be more action heavy.
I forgot about that part in the trailer. That's just Norman Reedus just fucking shooting at some guys with a fucking fully automatic gun. Like, I'm not even at a part in the game where you have like the only weapon you have is like a fucking, you know, like a smoke grenade type thing, or else your fucking fists.
I have a
gun. That's about it. Yeah, I know you get a gun later on in the game, but like where I am in the game. Yeah, it looks like I'm on chapter 3, which seems very early on.
That is early. I remember chapter 3 being one of the quicker ones, though.
I think I'm kind of taking my time with that chapter, because I was doing like a lot of fucking deliveries, just like side deliveries and shit. But like I have 30 hours in it somehow, so. Back to Death Stranding 2, my god, Kojima's going mad. He's got fucking George Miller in there, the director of fucking Mad Max. What's he doing there?
Have you seen
What's
what
he doing
looks
there?
like, Quinn?
Damn, he just loves bringing like directors in. Yeah,
And like there's cameos from like Edgar Wright and like Conan O'Brien.
dude, he needs to get David Lynch in there. Is David Lynch in a game?
Oh.
yet? Holy shit.
Yeah, he looks fucking badass.
Looks fucking badass. He's lost a hand. He's got a black cat with fucking bat wings or something. That's crazy.
Honestly, love the way that Higgs looks in the new one.
That sold me on it. His fucking railgun guitar, my god, that is like the coolest shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. That sold me. The other two things that sold me were the puppet and the gloves around Lea Seydoux' neck. The puppet's like animated in like, I think it's like 8 frames per second, so he looks like stop motion compared to the rest of the game, which is so fucking cool to me. I love that type of shit. And Leia Seydoux has like gloves around her neck and it like lights a cigarette in her mouth at one point, and it's so fucking cool. I don't have a clue what the game's about. I haven't even finished the first one, and I don't even feel spoiled for the first one having watched the trailer for the second one, because I don't know what the second one's about.
I don't feel like I could like connect the dots even if I watched the whole trailer. I didn't watch the whole trailer, I just watched like some clips of it, and I think that this will probably be the game that like makes Death Stranding like a more kind of respected title as well, because I think people will probably see that the first one was like building up to something a bit different and maybe towards like their preferences.
I think the first one's kind of gained a lot of respect over the years, which is cool. But also he has like a new stealth game coming out as well. Spiritual successor to Metal Gear Solid, because he can't do a Metal Gear Solid game because Konami owned the rights. So he's doing a new one, and apparently your mother won't be able to tell whether it's a movie or not.
We just read that while you were in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Can't wait for everything he's doing. Hell yeah, Kojima.
Kojima's the best.
He makes interesting shit, I'll give him that.
Speaking of interesting and unique shit, let's get on to the main topic. I'll introduce my topic. So I decided that we should all watch Mike Flanagan's 2021 miniseries Midnight Mass. I've wanted to watch it for so long because I've friends who just like fucking completely adore the show. Some of them consider it like one of their favorite shows of all time, and I've always been very intrigued to watch it. I haven't had the best relationship with Mike Flanagan's work. I like a couple of his movies, I don't like a couple of his movies. This one has always interested me, and you know, being 7 episodes, I'm shocked I hadn't watched it yet. And I'm glad that none of us had seen it, so we can all kind of discuss it like from, you know, a fresh first watch.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased with how it turned out. I didn't come away disappointed at all, and I'm glad to say that. So yeah, Midnight Mass is basically about, it's a rural community off the coast of Maine, I think. Maine would make sense because it's fucking, you know, Mike Flanagan works a lot with Stephen King, and this does have huge fucking Stephen King vibes.
I didn't really think that while watching though, or anything, personally.
I mean, he's always, I guess, in like interviews and all sorts of stuff, then like he's always stated for sure like how he is like the director most heavily influenced by Stephen King, obviously to the point of like adapting.
I know he's
even,
like
several
really
of his
into
books.
Stephen King. I just meant that like I didn't really feel that from watching or anything.
I kind of did. I mean, just from like the vibe of the show and
The
like
small
the
town
very
community,
small town community, very like
Riley being an alcoholic.
I try not to compare.
I'm not comparing, I'm just saying it has Stephen King vibes. It feels very Stephen King influenced. So yeah, it's just about this small rural community. Riley, who's the protagonist, he goes to prison for a while because he killed someone in a drunk driving accident, and you follow him as he's getting back into the community after a few years of being out for various reasons, because he moved into the mainland in his early 20s or late teens, I think it said. And so he's just readjusting to the community, and a new priest comes in one day, and it kind of shakes the whole town up because the town has a religious background to it. And yeah, shit just gets interesting and very thought-provoking, I think.
it really does.
For the first couple of episodes, I liked it, but it's the last few episodes that really fucking, it wowed me. Like, I think it made the show way better in retrospect for me. And I loved that it was able to do that. It kind of tied the whole show together, and it solidified thoughts that I had on it, and it also wrapped things up in a very satisfying way to where I'm like, okay, I got why they were doing this early on to have this sort of a payoff to it, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that about it. I love the slow burn nature of it.
I came at this show going into it the same way, probably with the same mindset that Liam did, and maybe with you, Keelan. I don't know how exactly what you think, you know, about Mike Flanagan, but I know that like I also have like a very hit or miss relationship with like his work and his movies, and I've seen all of his movies. Like every single movie he's done I've actually seen, and about half of them I think are solid or good, and the other half I don't really think are that good. And his shows are even more hit or miss. I think like Haunting of Hill House I thought was solid, but overall a lot of his work is it's kind of the same across the board in terms of it's very wordy, it's very talky, and it's very monologue-y, and that can really work or not work with a lot of people. And so I was going into this kind of hesitant or like worried that I wouldn't like it. I'm glad to say I fucking loved it. I loved all of it. I loved like every second. It really worked for me. Like in terms of his monologues and his writing, Like, it really feels like this could have been a book, or it's like he took a book and put it onto a show, basically. So, like, it's not going to work for everybody.
Didn't he write a book of this, like, before making it?
He did. This was, like, hinted at in a lot of his movies, to where, like, I think it was initially supposed to be a book, and, like, in the background of some of his movies, you'll actually see, like, on a bookshelf, like, a copy of a book that says Midnight Mass. Like, this has been a passion project of his for, like, a long time. Yeah. So he's always been trying to get it made. You're right, Keelan, about saying, like, notice later on things will happen that, like, the things early on in the show that may have seemed uninteresting or kind of slow, like, you know, the build up, like, it kind of, like, makes you look back and appreciate it more, to the point to where I finished the show and I wanted to go back and just kind of brush through, like, maybe the first episode again, or maybe the second episode, just to, like, refresh my memory before this podcast. And I started the show over and I actually finished it for a second time, because I literally could not stop. Yeah, I watched the show twice because, like, guys, because, well, we pushed back the date of the recording and I had nothing else to watch, and so I thought I'll just rewatch the first episode, and it literally hooked me like, after watching the show and knowing what it was, watching it for a second time, it was like a whole different experience, because it was so rewarding getting to see all the seeds that were planted, like all the setups that I didn't even fucking acknowledge, that didn't register in my mind, seeing them set up over again, knowing what the show was going to be. So it was like watching it through different eyes the second time. I don't know, man. I really loved it. Like, I thought it was great. So,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
So, yeah. So I didn't think I would watch through it for a second time, but dude, it's such a show with, like, depth. It's got, like, layers to it, and so I was really, like, keeping an eye out for different things the second time.
I was kind of pissed off at myself because I only finished the last episode, like, a couple of hours ago, because I was very fucking busy the past couple of days unexpectedly. Like, we pushed this podcast back because I was fucking working on Tuesday. I had to fucking come into work again today. So that kind of limited my time for watching, and I'm pissed off about that. But after the last episode finished, I had so many fucking thoughts. Like, it's such a thought-provoking and smart show. And I know one of the big things about it is, like, oh, there's long monologues and there's lots of monologues, but, like, I never really felt them. Like, I don't think I would have noticed unless, like, people were like, oh yeah, there's lots of monologues in this show, because it feels natural. I don't think it ever feels like, oh yeah, here's a monologue for the sake of a monologue. I can't
agree with that, personally.
No, it does so much character work within those monologues.
I do agree, but I think that some monologues are really just unnecessary and just go on for way too long as well. Like, there was one in particular, and Julia agrees with me on this as well, and she's a big fan of Mike Flanagan. Like, that one monologue that Riley and Aaron are having when they're talking about how, like, what happens after you die.
Oh, that's the one I liked. I like that monologue.
It went on for so long, though. Like, so fucking long. And it got to a point of cheesiness that I just couldn't handle. I don't know. I really didn't like that scene that much, personally, but that's, like, the only one where it really, like, bothered me in terms of monologues.
I thought that monologue was, like, the core of the show. I think that was, like, the entire thesis of the show to me, honestly.
It very well could have been, but it just sounded cheesy to me, and
that is the thing. And I guess, to play devil's advocate, and that's one thing I don't like about him, is that he can be very cheesy. He can get very corny, and I think that is, like, a strength and a weakness in terms of his monologues, is that, like, some monologues are, like, fucking just so perfect and so thought-provoking, and, like, they're, like, written with, like, fucking golden ink, and, like, they're just perfect. It's like poetry. And then there's other monologues that can go on to a point of, like, parody, like, kind of, like, it's like, this is just getting, like, this is like a soap opera.
It's also just sometimes like a personal thing. Sometimes it just falls flat for somebody personally, I think, and that's totally fine. Like, if you just don't really agree that much with the sentiment that's being shared, then that's okay. But I mean, it serves a purpose. Like, if people, latch onto it, that's totally fine. It just didn't work for me.
I do agree with. I think some of, like, throughout the show, I think there is, like, a lot of cheesy dialogue, but I think what makes it work for me is how sincere it is. I believe every word out of these characters' mouths, and I think that matters more to me than, like, every word being perfect. And I think it goes a long way in building the characters.
I think it's like an apt thing, really, because like the characters, like when they have monologues, like it works for their character, it works for who they are.
It's one of the major themes in it is just like forgiveness and stuff like that, and it is after, like, you know, a lot of the characters have done pretty bad things.
I think the first initial like hint of that really got me was the scene between Joe and Lisa in his trailer.
That was a fantastic scene.
Like that was so well acted, and like the monologue in that really felt like it had a lot of gravity to it, but it was just so well acted between the two of them. They were amazing.
Yeah,
and that can go across the board for everybody. I think I thought all the performances were great. While we're talking about that,
in terms of the monologue, I think the monologues, like, overall, I think one thing that really impressed me, like, especially throughout the show, like with all the characters, I love how they're all distinct, like in terms of like their thought processes and stuff like that, and like it was very effective in communicating the characters' like central beliefs and their like core tenets and all that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. Like, it never felt like, oh yeah, it's just like one guy in a room just typing in his typewriter, like, oh yeah, this is what this character would say. It felt like these characters had minds of their own, and they all have their really like when
flavor.
Yeah,
I really like when a show can do that.
And like everybody gets their moment to shine too. Like everybody gets at least one like fucking great, like almost like Oscar, I don't know if I want to say Oscar worthy, like, but like what you would imagine, like a real acting performance, like a moment from each person that kind of goes on. And like, I don't know, I thought all the monologue, like none of them really bothered me that much. And I hate even bringing up this word so much, monologue, but like it is what everybody talks about with this show, and like it can really make it hurt the show or make the show for a lot of people. So it didn't bother me too much though.
The monologues did become a bit too much for me at times, but for the most part it works. And there's also something I feel I probably should say about this. I mean, I went into it like not being a huge Mike Flanagan fan, and it's mostly because of like the horror. It felt like within like the first 3 or 4 episodes of this show, it was like really focused on the drama, the characterization, like letting you really get to know these characters in depth and stuff. But I personally feel like in the last 3 episodes, it started to drop that off a lot more. That's kind of why like I don't see the last 3 episodes as being a big deal.
For me, I thought that was intentional because the story gradually led into that, you know, like at first you're not like, it just leads, you know, but I guess I can see where you're coming from.
Direction. It's just, I wanted more characterization and more like moments with these characters because I was really loving them, especially Father Paul. It felt like he started to be in the show like a lot less in the last 3 episodes, which really disappointed me. Just love his performance so much.
Oh, I love him. He was for me, he made the show. Like for me, I don't want to say
he is the.
I don't want to say he carried the show, but he made it. Yeah,
he's
fucking awesome. I love, and like Hamish Linklater, like holy shit. Like this makes me want to watch everything he's been in. Like that's how much I loved his portrayal, and like because I don't even know. This ties it back to Fantastic Four. I didn't know. I was looking because I went on Letterboxd. So I was like, what else has this guy been in? He was in the original early 2000s Fantastic Four. Some guy.
Fuck off.
No, he was. I'm not even kidding. He was in that fucking movie. He says a guy named Leonard or something. I don't know who that is in the movie, but he plays a guy named Leonard in that movie. So I gotta go back and rewatch it just for him. So
shit, all right,
dude,
nice.
Yeah,
you'll be in it for like a frame, and you'll be like, hell yeah, that's Father Paul right there.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Dude, no, but this movie, like, I love when, or this show, I love when a show can, like, it introduces me to an unknown actor. I didn't even, not unknown, but like, I didn't know him, and now it's like, where the fuck has this guy been this whole time? Like, he was incredible.
He has such a fucking commanding presence. Like every time he was on that altar, it's just like I'm locked in. Fucking.
Oh yeah, when
preach to me.
I would become a Christian. I would just become a Christian if he asked me to. But like also in those scenes where it's like not where he's like not on the altar and shit like that, like it feels like he just has such a uncomfortable layer to his performance, and like it's kind of awkward.
I like how it kind of switches between You can kind of notice he's more comfortable around some people more than others, which I quite kind of liked as well.
Like Riley.
Like Riley, yeah, like Riley. He's such an interesting character, and the performance is just, it is one of the best I've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen a performance with like this much like raw charisma.
It made me want to be a priest.
Yeah.
It just feels effortless, you know?
Yeah.
Well, charisma, but in a weird way, because you're right. He comes off like a very awkward guy. So overall, it makes him feel like just a very complex, like unique character. Like he has this commanding presence, like when he's up on the podium, or I guess whatever you want to call it, doing a sermon. But then like at other scenes, he just comes off like very kind of timid and very like soft spoken. And I don't know, it's just weird. It's like many different performances like coming from this one guy that like I didn't even know about. And so it's just really refreshing to see.
Yeah, I was raised like a Christian, and it is in a way kind of like a lot of priests that I would have known growing up, where they're like, they kind of, you know, they're more expressive and theatrical at the altar because, you know, in essence, yeah, they're kind of giving a show in some way. Like they're preaching the Bible in however much of a compelling way that they can do. And then if you just speak to them outside of it, it's just like, oh yeah, they're kind of a quiet guy. They have their own interests beyond being a priest, but like, you know, up there, you know, they're commanding the word of God. And yeah, it's interesting how he tied that into his performance. Yeah, exactly. Liam's point about the horror. The horror in Midnight Mass. Yeah. I read your first couple of reviews for it, and I was under the impression that it was more the jump scares that you weren't a fan of more than anything.
Oh, it's the horror in general, but the jump scares are like, the worst part of it for me. It's just the way that he films horror I find really, really generic, and I think I use that word a lot, and it sucks, but like, it's just the way that he films it, the way that he does it. It's so obvious every time. Like, he, you know, that shot where he's like filming like the outside of someone's window or whatever. It wasn't it wasn't the scene with the sheriff. It was something else. It's like bushes, and then you see like a part of it move because it was a person the whole time. Like, it's shit like that. It's shit like that, but it's like, we've seen that so many times.
There's also a moment in like episode 2 with Erin when she was just looking out her window and she saw.
No, that's the one I mean. That's the one I mean.
Dude, that's crazy, because like I was gonna bring that up, but in a positive way, because like for me, that's the type of horror I like to see. Is the type that wasn't really a jump scare, but like I like the horror that is kind of like something in the background. You have to be looking for it, and then you see it, and it's like, oh shit! Like it wasn't like something thrown right in your face. Like you wouldn't even have seen it.
Move then. I'd rather it didn't move and there wasn't a loud fucking violin sound to scare me.
That's the only, the sound cues I will get behind you with. I agree with the sound thing. I could have done without that. I think it would have been more effective without the sound. Yeah, more creepier without the sound. But
I'm fine with the horror if it's done like a little better than this. Personally, it just the horror is what fell flat for me the most. But I just love the drama of all of it. I love the characters. I just wanted more of them, more of exploring them.
One of the big things I got out of it was like a huge fucking feeling of like existential dread and existential horror. I think that's ultimately kind of what the show is. The most I got out of it, that's kind of what I loved the most about it, because I love that kind of horror, like existential horror, like something like fucking Eraserhead and shit like that. How fucking out there, and how it can be like, oh yeah, what happens after death, that sort of thing. I love that shit, and I love the way it is dealt with in the show, but I can kind of get behind that. Especially in the last few episodes, I can see how you can be kind of reserved in that, with how plainly it's shot, and how much you knew about these characters at this point. I felt like it worked very well for me personally.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense, like I said, for it to go the direction it did.
I had one negative. Like, it's very rarely did anything bother me in the show. Like, I was on board with everything, and this is it's a little negative, but I can't stand when one of the casting choices I thought was completely wrong, and even the second time I watched it, it still annoyed me. So
is it the same one I think?
Is it the fucking old lady? Is it the old lady?
Come on,
fucking dude!
No.
I can't
the
stand.
Makeup, I laughed when I first saw her.
I know there's a reason that they cast it as a young woman. It doesn't change the fact that they cast a fucking like a girl in her late 20s to be the mother of a woman in her 50s. Like, I looked up the actresses' ages, and so it still doesn't make sense. I just don't think it was the right call, because it really took me out of the show. It took me out of it, and it feels goofy and ridiculous, and I hate it. And I hated it both times. It just felt
the
goofy
one thing
to
I
me.
said about it, like, right when I like first saw it, was just that, you know, the older looking makeup on like Riley's parents, that looks fine to me.
Yeah.
But like Mildred, I just noticed it right away. She walks through the door. I'm like, what the fuck?
You just know. You just know, because you could tell that isn't a young woman's face, a facial structure.
Away, yeah.
And what before my last point, before Keelan, you can give your point, is that what bothered me the most wasn't even the makeup. It was the fucking, I hate hearing it's like hearing a young woman trying to impersonate an old person, and it was the voice that just annoyed me. Like, it's like, if I tried doing an old voice right now, it's like, that's fucking cringy. It's literally, it's like, that's cringy. I don't want to, it took me out of the show. Anyway, Keelan, you could defend it if you want.
I would rather they did that rather than cast two separate parts for it.
I would prefer if they did it, the makeup was better. If they can do it with Mia Goth, they can do it with her.
That's true. That's a great point. Yeah. That was convincing makeup for Mia Goth, yeah.
I thought the makeup wasn't great either, but I think overall it worked. I think a big thing with this show for me is that the ends always justified the means for me, and that made me more accepting of how unconvincing the old makeup was, and I didn't find her, like, the voice was a bit young, but I thought the old woman stumbling stuff was well done for the most part, and I thought she played the part fairly well. So I wasn't that hung up on like the old mage makeup not being the complete best. Like I didn't mind it overall, and like for the first however fucking many episodes she's in it for, she doesn't even really speak a lot because she's basically fucking catatonic. So,
which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, for real. No, the physical acting part, like you were mentioning, that was fine, like the old woman movements, but it really was for me just the appearance and the voice when she did it. It totally took me out of it, and I kept thinking like, why couldn't you just reverse the casting? Take the doctor who was supposed to be her daughter. Why wouldn't you make her the old woman and then have her, you know, like why couldn't you just switch the casting? Yeah. Why wouldn't you switch the casting? That would have at least, like, if the actresses in real life could have at least matched more of the ages, but instead it was just way off, and it just kind of took me out of it.
I think it is just a like big matter of like makeup, really. Like I think it's just the makeup that makes it as bad as it is, but also the voice. The voice is annoying.
There's one more tiny annoying thing with the show. Was like it's pretty technical, but so throughout the show, then sometimes there will be this shot in the show, and it's called, I had to literally look it up because I didn't know what the fuck it was called. It's called a split diopter shot. Do you guys know what this is? Yeah, the diopter. Yeah,
I only really noticed it in the last episode.
I could not stand. There was multiple moments where they did it in the last episode, but I'm sending right now to the general chat a shot from the show, and tell me this doesn't look goofy. I just cannot stand this type of shot.
Oh, is it this? I think I know the kind of shot you mean based on like what you called it, like someone's face, and then it's like a fade, kind of like a blur, and then something in the background. Yeah, and
like half the screen's blurry, the other half it's to focus on two different, like one in the foreground, one in the background, so you can focus on both.
I always hate those shots,
dude. I just think it looks so cheesy, and I set one example to the fucking general chat.
That's the worst shot in the show. That shot.
That is an actual shot from the show, and just.
Yeah,
it's just.
I noticed that. Like I said, it came up. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look right.
Yeah, like I said, it's a really technical thing, but they do it multiple times throughout the show. It's whatever. Like I said, it's such a nitpicky thing, but that's because like
for the most part, it's very well shot, though.
That shot does look goofy as fuck, but I will not. I will not stand for any fucking split diopter slander in this show. Split diopter shots are.
Dude, sometimes
fantastic.
It can be done well.
There's one in Suspiria I really don't like.
The remake or original?
The remake. It's like a shot of Dakota Johnson's face with something in the background.
No, that's a good one. No, shut up. It's a great one.
I just never see any use for that shot.
Good. Sorry, I'm the only one here with a film degree.
No, you're not.
Damn it.
So I don't know. We can get in spoilers if you're wanting to do that, because I mean we're gonna spoil the shit out of the show. All right.
Spoiler alert for Midnight Mass.
Going in blind was one of the most exciting and like rewarding experiences I've had watching a TV show, because I did not know this fucking show would be about fucking vampires of all things. I'll tell you that. I didn't know that. And so having that slowly reveal was so... It just captivated me. It kept me hooked.
I think I knew the look of the angel, but I didn't know it was from Midnight Mass. I'm glad I didn't even know it was from the show.
Yeah,
I mean,
the angel. But it's... Man,
it's the angel.
So is this wine I'm drinking, or is it the blood of a vampire? I don't know.
Oh my god.
We'll see. Peeling back a fucking onion, like the layers of like the whole time. I'm not trying to make... Well, I'd be garlic, I guess, if it was a vampire thing. I don't know. I'm not going to make vampire puns this whole time.
Yeah, that would suck.
Oh, no!
I'm fucking leaving. Fuck you. I liked how it didn't abide by every single traditional vampire rules, because, like, one of the big vampire rules is, like, you know, a fucking crucifix burns them, but, like, it's a religious show. Like, there's crucifixes fucking everywhere. Like, Father Pruitt is wearing a fucking cross on his fucking necklace, you know?
That is a great point. I didn't even think about that.
It's almost like it was an oversight.
It could have been.
I don't think it was an oversight. I think it was very much intentional, you fucking dipshit. But yeah, that reveal at the end of the third episode, that was, like, when I was in... That's when I was like, oh, shit.
Well, which reveal?
We're going
There's multiple.
Here.
There's several.
The one at the end.
The
one at the end of episode
Father
3
Pruitt
when he
dies.
talks about the cave and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
When. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that one. No, that was big.
I was locked in from then on. Like, if Hamish Linklater wasn't enough, bringing in vampires. Oh, I'm in. I'm here.
That was the point though, where I was like, this is where this show like could go down a certain direction, or it could go down a different direction. Like, I was hoping more for keeping that level drama kind of, and the characterization, like I said, but it started to get a bit more like supernatural kind of as it went. And
but I think that's where like a lot of the interesting themes of the show come from, like the whole thing about like death and rebirth and stuff like that. Like with, you know, Father Pruitt's intentions, which like they aren't fully revealed until like the last episode, which was satisfying for me. That fucking scene made me tear up, honestly. But like the way that he kind of saw it as like a salvation for like those that he loved, like on the island, and the reason like that he was keeping it like hidden is because like, oh yeah, he didn't really know the true power that he held. Yeah, it's not even until like episode 4, I think, where like his skin starts to burn when he goes into the sunlight.
Yeah, I think it was episode 4, yeah.
Which I found strange. And like, you know, even after he gets bitten in the cave, like he walks out into direct sunlight, you know.
Now I think I know the reason why is because I was confused by this as well. When the vampire kind of like he got confronted by it and it attacked him, and then he turned young. So he was infected with the vampire blood at that point, but the vampire didn't kill him. But I think, remember that moment when he collapsed in like his cabin, and then he just choked up, and then he died, and then he came back? That was the moment when he died, and then from then on, he was a full-on vampire. So like the whole show, people were getting infected by drinking the wine with the vampire's blood in it, and they were being infected, but they weren't completely turned yet because they hadn't died yet. So that's why in the 6th episode, right, then they have him drink the poison and shit. And, so it took that second watch really helped in terms of like, why is this not happening yet? Like, why is this the way it is? But once you figure that out, it's just like, it's so much more fun to watch.
Even then, I'm still sort of confused about how the infection worked. Like, there's that line that Bev says at the end of episode 7 where she's like, oh yeah, like, oh, you could have saved your family, but like, you know, Sturge had the option to kill you or turn you, and he chose to turn you or whatever, you know? And that's not really set up until that point where, like, you know, they can kill them or they can just like turn them. I assumed it was like, oh yeah, if they got bitten, they'd get infected immediately. But like, everyone that's killed in the church massacre like comes back to life as well,
right?
So it's kind of strange. I don't know whether it's like a proficiency thing where like they get more familiar with like how their powers work, and like in that first instance they're also overcome with like the smell of blood from like the other people that they're just like, I'm diving straight the fuck in, I'm getting all that blood in me, you know.
Yeah, all I know is that throughout the show, from the moment, like early on in the show, when he starts serving people the wine at mass, then he starts, he's slipping things into the wine. He's obviously slipping the vampire's blood into the wine.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right. That happens like in multiple scenes to where like one of the kids will walk in on him like pouring something from a flask into the wine glass. And you're like, what the fuck is that? But no, then you come to learn that he's been infecting the wine this whole time. So early on, people have been drinking this stuff, and that's why people are magically healing. That's why Lisa could like sit up from the wheelchair, which is the moment that hooked me, by the way. Like as soon as that happened, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, that was a great scene. Like that was the moment. Up until that point, I wasn't even sure I was enjoying the show, and then that happened, and I was hooked from then on. I was like, okay, now I'm interested. And so like Lisa gets healed, her mother, Mildred Gunning starts turning younger. The dad, like Riley's dad, his back starts, it's not hurting him anymore. Like everybody starts healing because they've been drinking the wine this whole time. But it's not till the end when Bev and all of them they make everybody drink the fucking poison to basically kill them and then revive them back as a full vampire. So that's, I believe, the way it works in the show. But yeah, it's kind of confusing. Yeah, you really have to keep an eye out for like all the little details. But
I'm not sure if it's more confusing than it is like it'd be more obvious on a second watch, because it does seem like something that would benefit from hindsight, It
really
like,
does.
You are right about all these things in hindsight, because like I forgot about like that shit, and now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh, that makes complete fucking sense.
Dude, that's literally why. Now you see why when I started rewatching the show again, I was like, I was just gonna rewatch an episode, and then I could not stop watching because I'm like, I was like, this stuff went over my fucking head the first time, and now like everything is coming full circle when on that second watch. It was crazy, like the fact that it did that. So it's just a testament to like how well he was able to map all this stuff out, and just I love just the way he planted all the seeds early on. So
how do we feel about Riley's character arc?
I think it's perfect. I think his arc is fucking as strong as it gets. I really like it that it ended when it did. When he dies at the end of episode, is it 4, I think?
So it is at the end of episode 5, yeah.
I wasn't convinced that he was dead, because like, his arc isn't finished yet. Like fucking, it'd make no sense for him to die now. Then he comes back to life, and you're like, yay, it's Riley, he can redeem himself. And then he fucking does. Like, holy shit. Yeah. That last scene in episode 5 just like completely fucking floored me. I thought I loved that episode overall. I thought that was so fucking good. I just loved watching the two of them just play off each other. And I thought that might be Hamish Linklater's strongest performance in the series, in my opinion. I thought he was fantastic in that episode. Even though it's not,
I cannot get over like him just like cracking Riley's neck back into place and shit, and like the shot of him, calm him down. The shot of him from like the low angle and stuff with like the eyes glowing and his hair like good. And him sweating and shit. He just looks so fucking cool.
It's fucking like terrifying and like Oh,
that's the thing you're supposed to get out of the show. I'm glad you got that out of it, Liam.
Dude, I think everybody got that out of the show. The thirst for Hamish Linklater. That's what everybody got out of the fucking show. Dude.
That episode ending with him telling Aaron, like, save yourself, don't try to save them, that sort of thing. I thought that was like fucking... I think I teared up like at the end of that episode. I thought that was fucking so beautiful.
I didn't really enjoy the scene itself when Riley like burns alive. Visuals for that didn't look the best, but like in terms of like his arc though, I think it is probably the perfect wrap up though, because it feels like he's a character that was never going to be happy. Like he was just never going to be like settled or feel at peace or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it
so
felt
it just
like
feels like it feels like the obvious way to wrap up his character, really. But
felt like he had hope for a bit, because he was really on the path to kind of trying to turn his life around or turn his mindset around by going to like the meetings and all that. And then, but once he turns full vampire, he realizes like, I'm not gonna live my life as a fucking vampire. So like, there's nothing else I can do but warn the people I love. And
I don't think it was as much that as it is like a major thing in the show is the theme of forgiveness. And I don't think Riley ever forgave himself for killing the woman.
No.
At the start of episode 1.
That's obvious.
So
he has
it
that dream every night, so...
Yeah.
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 So that was a constant torment of his, and he'd never forgive himself for that. And
that's kind of why I felt like that was a good wrap-up for his character, because that nightmare just never really stopped for him, and even if he's trying to get better, it just keeps going, and you can't forget it.
I don't know his fucking name, but his performance was like fucking stellar throughout like the 5 episodes he was in as well.
Zach Gilford.
I really, really liked him. Zach Gilford,
Yeah.
that's his name.
Yeah.
I thought his performance was fantastic. Like Quinn said, I really enjoyed like pretty much the majority of performances in this. I thought they were mostly compelling.
Honestly, second favorite performance is Samantha Sloyan. Bev is unbelievably she's so
villain.
good at playing that role. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Dude, that's like up there in terms of iconic villain, like iconic.
I haven't
TV
hated a
villains,
character this much in a while, but like at the same time, I just love her for like how much effort was put into this performance.
And then you watch interviews with her, and like she's so nice, and she's so different from her characters. So like it's really like interesting to watch that way too. Like, God,
What I loved about Bev, compared to like fucking Father Pruitt, is they are like polar opposites of what I respect about religion and what I fucking detest about religion.
Yeah.
Because that's another major thing that really connected with me in the show, like the way it candidly like discussed these religious themes, and it did like incorporate other faiths. Like you have the Raoul Coley character, like the sheriff, who is a Muslim, and there's that scene in the school.
Oh, I hate that
where
scene. Fuck. I don't hate
the scene where he was trying to make his case for obviously,
I felt so fucking bad for him. I was like, "Fuck you, Bev." Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I love those sorts of discussions, and like, I liked how it was not just limited to Christianity, and I'm happy that it did, because I did learn a couple of things about Islam in the process of watching the show, like about how like they see all religions as valid, but like there's the one true God, and they consider like the Bible. What was the word he used? It was like a perverted version of God's
like he
true
said over
word.
time, like people deviated from the story, like people were kings and like all that. They kind of like altered the story. That's what they believe. Yeah.
That stuff I never knew, and I'm glad that the show brought it to my attention, because that is quite fascinating. Like the way that the Quran was like the unaltered word of God. I like that sort of discussion as well. But yeah, his performance in that scene, and then fucking Samantha Sloyan's, like, oh my god, I hate her so much. I hate her so fucking much. Dude, she's so good. She's a wonderful actress. But oh my god, like it's hard. It's hard not to fucking hate her. Like
I kind of love her. I kind of hate her so much. I love her. Like,
she is one of those villains that like every time she's on screen is just like, oh, this fucking cunt. I wonder what he's gonna do.
I hate you, but like, God, you're good at this.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do next to piss me off? Come on, let's see. Bev was like everything I fucking hate about like Christian fundamentalists and stuff like that. Like she's constantly fucking quoting Bible verses to like justify her own shitty actions, and like that just fucking boiled my blood like every fucking time.
She's just one of those people that like oversees
no pun
everything,
intended.
even though she has no authority or anything.
And what really convinced me that she was such a shitty like character, or like not a shitty character but a shitty person, was that like literally like her first witnessing to like what was really going on was when she walked in on Father Paul like having killed that one guy. What was his name? Joe Colley. Yeah,
great
he walked. Oh yeah, he was great. Another great performance. Like she walks in on him. He's lying dead on the floor, and there's like blood coming from like the father's mouth. Like he'd pretty much killed him, and then obviously sucked his blood. And her first instinct is to like just help the father. She doesn't even like doubt it. She's like, oh, this must be God's will. Like, you just fucking killed this guy. I don't know.
It's like, it seems like every situation she puts herself in, she's just like, okay,
yeah,
we're gonna sort this out.
yeah, we're gonna sort this out. Wrap it up in carpet, and then
she's just ready for anything.
Yeah, she is. She's just like full on sociopath, honestly. Yeah,
it's great.
It is.
I think that by that point she knew, though. The start of that episode was like after he died. Like that was the start of episode 4. That was after he died, and they were talking, and then she says, She calls him Father Pruitt, like at the very start.
Okay, yeah. And then maybe that was I can't remember if that was before or after he like held his hand in sunlight and she saw it burn and she was like, okay, we're gonna solve this. Like,
well, it was after he passed.
Oh no,
out.
that was after
Joe Peller's
death.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he like passed out first, had that like then we had that like confession reveal in the cave and shit, and then he wakes up and then that's when he kills Joe, I guess.
I do like how you never really know how much she knows about the situation.
Yeah.
It's not a thing where you have to know like what exactly she knows about it, but like her, the things she says and like the little actions she does and like how close the two of them are, not even emotionally, but like in terms of like the hierarchy of their church. I like that. I really like that you never really know like, how much does she really know, and
we
but
don't
like
get
whatever
a huge
she does
look into it, and it's
Yeah.
makes the dynamic a lot more interesting when you don't know too much about it.
Talk about a sad and also then disturbing death was Joe Colley's death. Like, because I really, like, the second watch, I felt more, like, even more attached to that character because I'm like, man, he obviously feels so shitty about, like, doing what he did to Lisa. And then he was, like, really on the path. Like, he had a good day that day. He, like, didn't drink and he was so excited about it. And then all of a sudden, he just fucking falls over and gets his head bashed. And then Father Paul sucking that blood from his head was like, oh my god. The first time I watched that, I thought it was funny. The second time, I actually thought it was disturbing. Like, when it cut to him sucking from his head, it was like, okay, it is disturbing. I don't know why my first instinct was to, like, laugh at that.
Because it's badass.
I mean, to be fair, it is badass.
Yeah.
I found the scene where he got Liza to stand up funny when I watched it.
Yeah.
Like I was laughing at first. I was like, "Oh, that's funny." Yeah, because like, it was so funny. I was like, he just kept standing in the back of his shoes. He was like, "No, come on, come up to me."
No, that part was that part. I was like, what the?
But then
it was like uncomfortable laughter I was having. I was like, what are you doing?
No, that does make sense to me because at that point you really know nothing. You don't even know he's Father Pruitt. You know nothing about the vampires. Yeah. So I was still treating it as like a grounded show, and I was like, oh yeah, he kind of just believes in God that much that he would be like, oh yeah, I think it, so it's going to happen, that sort of thing. And then that does happen and you're like, oh shit, okay. this show has some juice to it. Yeah,
it does. And like, you don't even, I love how the show just like, it takes its time with explaining things to where you will not, early on you think maybe these are fucking miracles, maybe something like, who knows what's going on, and then you come to learn why these people are being healed, and it's like, holy shit, that reveal, I just can't get over that reveal.
Can't give it a 10 though because it killed a lot of cats. I didn't like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, there was a lot of dead cats.
Dude, it's just such a strange sight to see all these dead cats on the beach. Like, it's like, damn, when have you haven't seen that in any other movie or show though. Like the imagery that this show brings, like, it's unique for sure. You have to talk about the ending of fucking episode 6. That's like, for a lot of people, that's probably the biggest part of the show, honestly. And you could argue that is the fucking reveal. That whole ending, like that last 20 minutes in the church, when Father Paul is trying to like ease these people into the idea of like, okay, so here's what's been going on this whole time. Here's this fucking angel. I'm gonna have you drink all this poison and you're gonna turn into a vamp. But that's not really what he's really saying. It's crazy. I love watching that, like seeing him trying to like ease them into it
for eternal life.
Exactly. Man.
I felt so bad for the sheriff in that scene. Fucking hell.
Oh, yeah, because
that was heartbreaking.
His son drink the poison right in front of him.
Like, there was a huge element of, like, what was the word? Fucking groupthink, just, like, mass.
Oh, yeah.
So half of them didn't drink it. Like, half of them were just as skeptical. With the whole miracle side of it, like, I feel like everyone wanted to believe it, and that's why they showed up to the church, but I think that would have been the breaking point for most people, where it's just like, oh, no, this is not for me at all, that sort of thing. But I really like that. I like how Father Pruitt, like, he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart. Like, he thought, like, it would actually, bring salvation to the island, and he thought that fucking, it would save the people. I don't think he had the mass murder, like, going over to fucking the mainland and kill everyone and turn them into vampires. No. I don't think he had that in mind at all. No, that was just like a Bev thing. Fucking bitch.
No.
But
yeah.
But that whole scene was just so fucking, like you said, with him fucking killing what's his name, Sturge, with him drinking the cup, and he's just holding him as he's going down, and it's just like, just take it easy, it'll be over soon.
I'm with you.
Give it 5 minutes, he'll be back.
Yeah. Oh man.
I love how drawn out that is as well. Like, it doesn't feel like he comes back instantly at all, and like it might have actually been exactly 5 minutes. I think it was like all in real time. It might have been, but I really love that. Like how he's just dead, and everyone's just like, oh, well, what the fuck? He's dead. Like, do something about it.
I mean, imagine placing yourselves, in the shoes of one of like the people in the pews just watching this. Like, what the fuck? Like, you've been going to church this whole time. Everything's been normal as far as you're concerned. And like, people are getting healed and good stuff's happening. All of a sudden, you're watching some guy die right in front of you, and the next thing, a fucking fucked up angel demon thing shows up.
That is the one jump scare in the show I absolutely fucking loved.
Which
when
one?
When the sheriff is about to leave the church, and you just see the angel like standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. I thought that creeped me out genuinely. Like you know, he's shrouded in darkness, and it was kind of like, I think it was like the first full view you got of his head. Like, you saw a lot of him, but like that was like the first full-on shot of him. So it was even more shocking that like you did see a lot of him like in earlier episodes, but that was like, you know, you see his face now, you see him up front.
At this point, even calling it an angel is kind of like, okay, it's not really an angel. It's obviously this dude. It's a vampire. So this, I guess, this is how that's actually what I like about the show, is that you can view it as different things, and like they don't even use the word vampire in the show, so they don't really go into the depth of like what exactly is this. That's what I like about it. But what I interpreted was that, and this is why I think the concept of this show is so fucking cool. Like, this is such a unique idea of fucking an old priest going on this like sketchy route in some desert storm. He stumbles upon a cave. He finds a vampire, mistakes it for a fucking angel when in reality it's a vampire, and then gets infected with it. Because obviously, I mean, he gets burned by sunlight. He drinks on blood. Like, to me, this is obvious vampire stuff.
I was only calling it an angel because they called it an angel.
No,
because,
exactly.
Like, they said that Bible verse where, you know, what was it, about the first angel or whatever?
No, I just think it's a unique idea. It's like, what if this holy religious person stumbled across something supernatural like this and mistook it for an angel or like a being of God, obviously, and thought it was a good thing. And thought it was a good thing, and then brought it back to this island and introduced fucking vampires to this community through the guise of religion. Like, to me, that's such a unique idea, and I thought that was like the clear-cut thing of the show. Like, I thought that, because in the end, you know, then the Father Paul is like, when he finally realizes, like, this is fucked up, he's like, no, we're wrong. Like, this is wrong. Like, I was like, yeah, dude, this is not an angel. It could be a fallen angel or a demon or something, but to me, I just thought it was a vampire.
Like I said, they do view it as an angel because it's his salvation, you know? Mm-hmm. And he wanted to bring, you know, like I said, like 2 or 3 fucking times already, he wanted to bring salvation back to the people of the island because he'd known them throughout his whole fucking life, and he knew them all in kind of an intimate, well, faith level, I suppose.
But still, angels are scary, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, biblically accurate angels are fucking terrifying.
Right. That's why he was that's what he was saying to the people too. Like, in the Bible, he was afraid when he saw the angel and all this stuff. That's why I thought it was so interesting, though. Like, the fact that he kept believing that this thing that was infecting all of them and like fucking sucking their blood and turning them into vampires was this good thing, until the very end when everything's in chaos and he realizes, no, that's not actually what this was.
That church massacre as well was kind of horrifying. Like, it was very fucking bleak, in my opinion. That whole church massacre is like such a schlocky concept, like just in words, but it's pulled off so artfully, I think. I mean, like I said, it is shot very kind of standard, and it is like fucking horrifying to watch, but in concept it is kind of a schlocky thing, like, oh yeah, they all get turned into vampires and they kill everyone, but like with all the fucking blood on the walls and like how uncontrollable everyone is. Father Pruitt got shot in the head and he came back to life.
Dude, I was so, speaking of that, my first time watching, I was so pissed when he got shot. Like, I was like, yeah, I know that he's like not doing the right thing right now, but I loved him so much, I don't want him to die. So when he came back, I was like so happy, even though he's not completely
you forget he's
right.
A vampire.
You know, yeah, exactly.
See, what pissed me off is when Bev came back to life.
Yeah, but dude, wasn't that a satisfying, like, kind of momentary death when Aaron just shot her mid-sentence? Like, when she was like,
yeah,
like, you can do whatever, like, you know, this isn't gonna stop anything. And like, bam, just fuck off. Like, the whole time, that's what you've been wanting to see this whole time, is this bitch get shot. So, like, you get to see it for a bit. But
Bev
no,
was giving off, like, Saint Maud vibes on that beach.
I thought she was giving off Saint Maud vibes throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
dude,
kinda,
speaking of Saint Maud, am I the only one who am I the only one who thought of the ending of Saint Maud during Riley's death? I mean, at the end of Saint Maud, it's like, it looks like this magical thing happening, and then it cuts straight to a fucking harsh, like, burning alive thing.
Oh,
That's the
no,
same
yeah, you're
thing
right.
that happens with
same
Riley's death. It did the same thing, and I was like, holy shit.
I do not really like the very ending, personally. Everyone burning alive. I just kind of wanted other stories to be wrapped up a bit better, only two that survived those kids, and it's like, whatever.
Are they the only two that survived, or the only two we saw, like, at the end? Because, I mean,
the
we
rest
see...
of
the only
them
two
burned
that
alive.
survived.
Like, it felt like it showed everyone burning alive.
The rest either burnt alive, got killed, or they can't get off the island because
That is really disappointing.
all the cell towers are down and all the boats were burned. Yeah. But I liked it because, again, the whole death and rebirth thing and forgiveness and all that, like, that was a big thing in the last episode. And also it's kind of like a thing of like, oh yeah, these two kids are the island's future, basically. And I did really like the last line of the show. I thought the last line of the show was
I can't
good
feel my
note to
legs.
end it on.
Now, what the hell does... Because even after my second watch, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why all of a sudden why is that gone? Why is her healing gone? Like...
The vampire died.
Oh, so the fact
Maybe
that the
that killed the
vampire
blood.
died, you're probably right. That's the only reason I
Yeah,
could possibly think. Because, like, when everyone drank the vampire's blood, everyone's illnesses were going away, and things were going great. So I guess that makes sense. After the vampire dies, then maybe that's why.
It stabbed its wings and it can't fly that well.
Yeah. I saw somebody online say that, or some letterbox review say, like, oh, so they thought it was a plot twist. Like, oh, so it was the island that was, like, healing everybody, which, no.
That is the stupidest shit.
No.
What?
They thought, because, like, after the island started burning, then that's why she couldn't feel her legs. I thought that was dumb because, like, well, why wouldn't people start healing sooner then? Why all of a sudden?
I did really like the ending, especially with them singing that hymn. That choked me up a little, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of choked up a little, like people coming together in unity to be, you know, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna go to heaven, we still have our faith intact, that sort of thing. That got to me a bit.
Fucking Raul Coley and his son didn't deserve to die. They had no reason to die. They weren't fucking Christian.
They had no reason to die, but I am glad that it ended the way it did with
also,
them
Ali is fucking
one last
stupid,
time.
by the way.
Because he was buying into the idea of Christianity.
Well, no, I know. I know that, but like it's just shitty.
From an outside perspective from us, it obviously seems like how could these people be so stupid? But if you put in your shoe, like if you're in their shoes, you're on the secluded island to where everybody kind of believes the same thing, and you're literally witnessing miracles happen before your eyes.
It doesn't make sense to me why he would buy into everything so quickly like that. I mean, I guess he's a kid. He has kid brain, so maybe that's just it. But
I mean,
that's why I think, honestly, I thought it was easing into that, because like early on, you know, like his son was like, when they were doing the, you know, the Muslim prayer in like their room, he was kind of like not fully into it, and then he was talking to his dad about like, oh, I kind of want to go to mass, and like, and it was like I said early on, it was like planting the seeds. It wasn't like all of a sudden like I'm a Christian now. Like I feel like early on he had that doubt in him and he wanted to become a Christian.
How often do you need to be shitty to your dad? It felt like he was just shitty to him like the majority of the show.
No, he kind of was. You're right. Like even from the get-go when they were buying drugs from that guy and he's like, yeah, fuck my dad. Is that what you hear? Fuck him.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
Those 3 kids, they look like they'd all be very good at TikTok.
What?
They just have that look about them. Especially
dude,
the curly
I'm
head
so
kid.
that's they got the broccoli hair and everything. Yeah. No, I was like dude, speaking of which, I was so glad because I think I had my doubts in the first episode as well, because like it was following the kids for some reason, and I was like, oh no.
The first episode was my least favorite. Yeah.
It was probably my least favorite too.
It is probably the worst overall.
Even though I did appreciate it my second time and I could clearly see like why everything was necessary to plant the seeds, it was just the slowest and most uninteresting for sure. But like, I was so glad that it wasn't following the kids for the majority of the time, because that's what the first episode gave me the vibe of. I was like, are we gonna Stranger Things this? Are we gonna fucking like It this? You know, to where we're following the kids. But no, I'm glad it wasn't that.
That would have sucked.
But I will say, though, even though the first episode was my least favorite, I think the last episode was my second to least favorite.
I'm not a big fan of the last one either, personally.
It was like exciting and all, but like I actually, honestly, like I came to enjoy the slower moments and the creepy dread and build of the whole middle of the show.
That's
was
what
like
I'm saying.
Fucking gold. It was gold. Yeah. I wish it stayed that way, but they needed that big climax, that big payoff in the end. So like,
it does feel like one of those just big kind of like last moments, like big action scene or like, you know, big vampire scene, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like they threw that in there for the people that were complaining, like it's too much talking, it's too much, you know, monologues. Like they threw that big, here's all the action, here's all the fucking islands burning, you're seeing the vampire kill people and die. Like
it feels like a zombie movie, like toward the end of it.
It does. I think the payoff was earned, honestly. I like that it ended the way that it did, especially thematically, like tying all the elements that we've gotten all along together, and yeah, just giving everything a payoff. I thought it worked well as that, but also it was pretty bombastic and huge, which I was kind of apprehensive of at first. Like you said, it does feel like a zombie movie, especially like when they're moving about the town and then the angel just goes into one of the houses and then the woman comes out screaming or whatever.
Yeah. So to me, it just didn't fit the tone of the show, the pace of the show or the vibe of the show. It just like, this feels like a whole different show by the end of it.
I felt like it fit the show thematically, because it is kind of action packed, that last episode, in a way. But it also gave me like a ton of fucking existential dread. The impending fucking sun, like that was enough to make me go like, oh yeah, like they all have like a set death.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to survive this. There's no shelter whatsoever. Like all they have to do is just like spend their last moments like together as like a community and kind of just go through it, I suppose. And I do love, even though it's only like you're saying about like planting seeds and stuff, the relationship between Father Pruitt and Mildred, like the way that was just suddenly sprung upon you in the last episode, that also made me like a bit emotional.
That's probably the best part of the last episode for me.
It was. It's kind of the heart, honestly. Like, even though it wasn't there the entire show, it kind of felt like the heart of the show in the end.
Well, yeah, because it's like you finally find out his reason for doing everything that he did, and it's like, oh, wow, that's sad.
Yeah, because
and it is fucking sad. Yeah,
he was visiting her since like the very first episode.
Yeah, giving her like the private sacraments and everything. Like he would always make sure she was getting the fucking blood to like turn her young.
Every day. I also love the line that he said about like, oh yeah, it didn't feel like a sin bringing our daughter into this world, even though she was cheating on him. I loved that line so much. I thought that was like a beautiful fucking line. And it says a lot about Father Pruitt's character. Like it said early on, like, oh yeah, I've heard rumors that like Father Pruitt's slept around a lot, so it would be... it's Joe Colley that says it like directly to Father Pruitt's face.
Right before he gets killed, he's like, I heard he wasn't the most celibate.
Joe needs to learn to shut his mouth sometimes.
He does. Even though I feel like he wouldn't have made it out of that situation alive anyway, because he was clearly like... The vampire instincts overtook him. He's like, I need blood. And it looked like, not to go way back randomly to that one moment, but it looked like he didn't even purposely kill Joe Colley. I thought he just accidentally like broke away and he fell back and died.
I think he did. He was looking behind him like beforehand, like at the corner of the thing, so that he knew that he would like drop on that.
Why would he, when he knew he could like just bite into his neck or his arm or whatever, you know?
Well, he doesn't want to alarm him. He wants him to, like, you know, hit his head, be quiet, and then he can go to town.
No, that's actually a good point from, like, no, Keelan, I know the point you just made me think, why wouldn't he just, like, while he was holding onto him, why wouldn't he bite his neck right there? That makes me think,
he was resisting the urge.
Yet another thing that's open to interpretation, whether or not he meant to kill him or not. For me, I still interpret it as he accidentally broke away and fell and bashed his head.
He didn't look shocked.
But he didn't, like, dive for the blood either. He didn't, like, go headfirst into the blood. He kind of, like, was, like, examining it and like, okay, I'm gonna start tasting this. And then it's just such a fucking rich show in every way. Like for me, like in terms of all of its characters, its writing, I really loved it. I feel like I can just get more and more out of it every time I go back to it. But yeah, I guess we could do closing thoughts and stuff.
Well, I guess since I recommended it, I'll go first. But like, yeah, so yeah, it's kind of put a lot of faith in Mike Flanagan for me. Like you discussed your relationship with Mike Flanagan before you started, but I didn't really say much. Like, I love Dr. Sleep, the director's cut specifically. I like Hush, don't like Gerald's Game. Those are the only three things I've seen from him. But I really fucking love Midnight Mass. I don't think I can go quite perfect yet, because those first few episodes were shaky for me at first. But I do like how it started in hindsight. But right now I'm feeling a 9 out of 10, which is like very, very high for a show. Like, I don't really give 10s to that many shows, but yeah, I thought it was a very special show, and it is. I don't rewatch shows that much, but this feels like something I could revisit with like a friend or someone who's never seen it before, or just on my own to get more out of it, because I feel like I'm going to be thinking about it for the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah. Well, I'll add on to that and say that even though, yeah, my relationship as well with Mike Flanagan is very hit or miss, like I've said, I've only liked maybe half his movies out of all of his stuff, and then maybe half of his shows. But this really restored a lot of my faith as well. This gave me a way more respect for him after watching it. I'm really glad that you recommended it, because I feel like this is a show I would have just put off forever because of those doubts and everything. Even a couple episodes in, still having like trepidations about it, I was like very hesitant to even think this was a good show. But by the end of it and the payoffs, and rewatching it even for a second time and seeing everything that was planned out and just how well everything was woven together, this is like, honestly, I'm not even gonna hesitate to call it one of like my new favorite shows. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of fucking 10. Dude, I'm gonna give this a fucking 10. For me, this is the best thing Mike Flanagan has ever done and probably will ever do. Like, I don't know how he can top this. It just felt like so tightly woven, so perfect. Everything is necessary. I connected with the characters. I don't know. And it was just so unexpected. Like I said, go into this fucking show blind. Well, if you're listening to this now, you didn't. But but I hope people go into the show blind, because like, it is so rewarding in the end, like not knowing what is going to happen. And then it makes you want to go back and experience it again. I'm going to be thinking about it for a while, and yeah, I loved it.
I did really enjoy it. Yeah, I'm glad you recommended it. I did get something out of it, definitely. I think it's a really, really good show. I would only give it a 7 out of 10, personally. It has too many problems with the horror, and it lost a bit of the characterization that I was really enjoying. It doesn't really, like, paint Mike Flanagan in a different light for me or anything. I do respect a lot of the things that he was doing with this. I think that he's like he's really good at coming up with ideas like this. Like, the idea of Midnight Mass is really, really good, but it's just some of the execution I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, it is a really good show, and I would recommend it, definitely. It has a lot to love about it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Positive recommend all around from...
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
I'm glad that didn't turn out horribly. That was a good discussion.
Dude, I was afraid. I was afraid that both me and Liam like wouldn't like it, and then we would just like be like, oh god, we gotta get through this fucking episode. But no, I'm so glad.
I had a feeling that like you both would like it, but I felt like I wasn't gonna like it at all, but I did. So
I'm so glad.
Cat in background.
Huh?
Sorry. Your cat's in the background.
Oh shit, I didn't even see. The level of planning and like story beats throughout the show makes me want to go back and rewatch Haunting of Hill House, hopefully in a better light. Like, it literally makes me want to give that whole show another chance, because I didn't love either of the Haunting shows. I really didn't love either of them, and it makes me want to watch his new show, the Fall of the House of Usher. I want to watch that too now.
He has another show that isn't as well received called The Midnight Club, I think, which is kind of more like teen focused. I think Heather Langenkamp's in it. I think that's the only thing I know about it. Yeah. But yeah, he did that a couple of years ago, and it was meant to get a second season, but it was cancelled because not enough interest. But it feels like limited series are his strong suit from what I've heard.
Yeah, and I want to see more, honestly. Like, I hope he sticks with this type of formula, you know, because like honestly his movies haven't blown me away the fact like as much as this has. All right, well, let's get into listener questions. Okay, I've got a couple of questions here from Campo.reviews. Where does this rank among his other projects? Talking about Mike Flanagan.
At the top.
Oh yeah,
The top.
at the top.
At the top.
The top.
It's totally at the top. Honestly, just the most well thought out and well written and well performed thing he's ever done. Like, it just is. I really hope his
absolutely.
movies blow me away, like, more in the future. Because I want to see more movies from him as well. Like, I can't watch a limited series back to back like this.
His next movie has quite an interesting cast. No, it's a drama. It's based on a Stephen King book. It's called The Life of Chuck, and it's just a story told in the reverse, starting with the end of Chuck Krantz' life, moving back in time to show how he lived that life. There's Tom Hiddleston, Mark Hamill, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Jacob Tremblay, Matthew Lillard,
Ooh, this is a good cast.
Holy shit.
Heather Langenkamp, David Desmalkian,
Ooh.
Kate Siegel, obviously, because she's his wife. Bev fans rise up. Samantha Sloyan's in it too.
Oh yeah.
And Raoul Coley.
Let's go.
Oh shit, we're gonna see Bev in a movie? Hell yeah. No, Kate Siegel is definitely an actress like I've come to like because of his stuff as well, even though I don't love like a lot of stuff she's in. Like the first thing I saw her in was Hush, and I thought for playing like a mute, she was like really good.
And she was great in Midnight Mass.
But yeah, and the other question, which I don't even want to read from him, but I'm going to, is how much better would this be if it had Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Dude, he knows I don't like hearing about those fucking two. Bruh.
No, I could see it if you cast Travis as Riley and then Taylor as Aaron. I think that could work.
Moving on to movies that don't suck. He asked, is Mike Flanagan the GOAT of horror right now? No, I'm sorry to say, but even after Midnight Mass, he's not the GOAT of horror.
I do like that he is kind of like a horror auteur.
Yeah.
I don't like that word, but I like that he is respected in the world of horror, because he does seem like a genuinely nice guy. Like, he works with like the exact same cast, so that kind of says a lot about like how he approaches like his sets and directing and stuff, so that's cool at least. Even if you don't like his directing.
Yeah, and he's really passionate about horror. He's passionate about Stephen King. He adapts a lot of his work. He's like, he found his niche of horror. It's just not, it's not the most bottom of the barrel horror. It's not perfect. It's not bottom of the barrel like a lot of Blumhouse stuff, but it's not top tier like a lot of, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like A24 maybe? I don't know. I don't know who the GOAT of horror is right now, but like Mike Flanagan is he's a good mid horror director. He's not bad. He's not the best though. He found his niche. He's good. But
the GOAT of horror is John Carpenter.
Well, yeah, I guess if we're talking like of all time, but like right now, I don't know.
I mean, GOAT means greatest of all time.
That's true. That's true. Fuck. What do you say the GOAT of horror right now? That's like that's a contradiction.
I mean, I probably'd have a different answer, but at the top of my head, John Carpenter is what I think of.
John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Tobe Hooper. You can name all the fucking iconic horror people, but Mike Flanagan is solid.
David Gordon Green.
Oh god. No, but if we're being serious, the GOAT of horror right now, I would honestly say is either Ari Aster or Robert Eggers, and I'm not even just like, I know it's fucking basic as shit, but
they've been inventive with their horror, I think. So
they have. Bryn's World. I guess it wasn't a question, but he said one of the most beautiful and tragic endings ever. Yeah, it was bittersweet. I mean, I guess.
It's an ending.
3 questions from Julia, moving__picture. Do vampires dream of electric sheep?
Do they sleep at all?
Probably not. Not much.
Would you ever want to be a vampire? Why or why not?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because it'd be very inconvenient. Like, I can only go out at night.
You get, like, a lot sexier, though.
That's true. And you can fly.
I have seen Interview with the Vampire. That does happen.
Julia said, What do you think is Mike Flanagan's greatest strength in storytelling and weakness? They're one and the same. I literally think it's the writing and the monologues. I think it's both his strength and his weakness. You know? Because, like, there's monologues, like I said, in this show that just are amazing. And they're just, like, I want them, they can go on, and it's, like, it's such good writing, it's such good performances, and it's like, man, this is really just great character building and just TV moments. And then there's other but then, like I said, it can also be a weakness. Like those, sometimes there is scenes that do seem indulgent and do seem cheesy. And so it's just, you take what you can get. Some are hit or miss.
One thing I did like really love though about that scene, like one of the first ones where they go to the AA meeting and like Father Paul's like saying to him, you know, like, nope, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So like he's trying to take control of the situation and stuff, but he seems so like awkward doing it.
It really makes you wish you knew that character and like wish you could talk to that character at the same time.
No, I was just gonna. Yeah, his biggest strength I think is his character writing. I think is no, especially in Midnight Mass. I actually can't really say much about Gerald's Game or Hush. I haven't seen those in years, but like I wasn't a huge fan of them. But like his character writing in Midnight Mass was so effective. Like even in the last episode, we're already in spoilers, so I'm just gonna say when like there's that guy. No, I think I already talked about it, but there's that guy. Sturge's like, oh, he was nice to me, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that guy. He turned, and it was like as a testament to his character writing. He's on screen for like 1 minute. And it's like I like that guy. He's a really cool character.
What would you say weakness though?
Like the cheesy dialogue's a good one, but I'd want to come up with a more interesting one.
I think his structure is my biggest problem quite a lot of the time. So I do find it really, really generic and obvious, like where things are going to go, kind of. It's also like the monologues. The monologues do get to me sometimes. I don't like all of them.
He has a very surface level approach to horror in a lot of ways. Like when I watch Hush or when I watch Oculus or when I watch any of his other movies, like even Doctor Sleep in a way, like to me it's all very surface level, and I wish there was more depth and more risks being taken to what he does, and that's why I thought this was refreshing.
It'll make me more eager to watch anything he puts out.
Me too, honestly, going forward.
I think why it took me so long to watch Midnight Mass is because I had such like a kind of low opinion on his movies, and then after I watched the director's cut of Doctor Sleep, I was like, oh wait, this is really good. He knows what he's doing. So I was kind of more open to watching Midnight Mass, I think. And yeah, it's made me be like, I think I'm kind of a fan of Mike Flanagan if he has more stuff on this level.
You can just tell he's grown a lot. Like he's grown over time from his like filmmaking and his like storytelling, honestly. Like I think he's getting, honestly, he could be getting better and better. Like that's the direction I see it going. So I'm excited too. Yeah, I want to check out his latest show, see if it's as good. That was the last of the questions? Yes. Yep, I'll get on to the next topic. It actually is a discography episode, because I know you did a music... Yeah, it is. I know that you did a music episode recently, Liam, but I had another one in mind as well, because I don't do these a lot. I don't do music episodes a lot, but I figured it was time. It's one of my favorite bands at this point. They only have 5 albums, so you may have heard already some of them. So if you've already heard some of them, then enjoy the re-listens. If you haven't heard them yet, then I'm jealous because I wish I could go back.
I hope it's who you're going to say.
And listen.
I hope it's who you're going to say.
I've been getting back into some rock and metal recently. These guys are just like none other. They're so unique. They're so fucking good. But I want us to talk about one of my favorite bands at this point, System of a Down. I want us to talk about System of a Down. No, I've been listening to them a lot lately, and I've been like just obsessively like re-listening and going back. I don't know why I've suddenly went back to them, but I would love to talk about them because they're such a unique band, and it's a shame they're not together anymore making music, but those 5 albums are just fucking gold, and I would love to talk about them. But I just thought it'd be a nice little, only 5 albums there, and man, are they fucking like, you'll just blow through them, I feel like. I figured now is a better time than ever because I've been really into their stuff lately, so listen to System of a Down, people, for the next episode. I guess that's it. So you can find me at Views by Quinn on all the social medias. You can find the link tree.
You can find me at Movies Music Me on most things. Check the link tree and you'll find it all.
Same, bro. You can find me on the link tree.
Check the description and interact with the poll, too. All right, and that's about it. So, peace out, bitches! Go drink some blood.